In this video, I will show you some cup and side pressure exercises that you can do to level up your arm wrestling game. Cup and side pressure are two of the most important strengths that you must possess if you want to be a good arm wrestler. For almost every technique in arm wrestling, you will need strong wrist, fingers, and side pressure. I will also explain to you some important aspects that you must consider when doing these exercises. If my videos help you train smarter and get stronger, you can support the channel through Buy Me a Coffee. Link is in the video description below. With that being said, let's dive straight into it. The first exercise on the list is side pressure with the wrist range. This exercise is for me one of the most important ones because it trains your fingers, wrist, and side pressure at the same time. I set the pulley system as high as I needed to mimic a real opponent as good as possible. When doing this exercise, make sure that you will start with a straight wrist and parallel shoulders to the table like you would do in an arm wrestling match. I see a lot of guys that start this exercise with their wrist already cupped in or with their shoulder way too far ahead, which makes everything much easier. Don't cheat yourself. Do the reps as clean as possible. Here I will give you a little tip. Whatever exercise you are doing, ask yourself, does the way I'm doing this exercise translates on the arm wrestling table? If not, change the way you are doing the exercise to get the most results out of your training. After the warm-up, I always do 3 hard sets on each exercise. First set is the main one and at the same time the most heavy one. Then I decrease the weight and do 2 more back-off sets. Second exercise is side pressure with the rolling thunder. The difference between rolling thunder and wrist range is that the rolling thunder will not put as much tension on your wrist and fingers as the wrist range. That means with the rolling thunder, you can focus more on developing a strong side pressure. I would recommend you to do this exercise as the main exercise if you struggle with your side pressure movement. The setup is exactly the same as the first exercise. Again, try to do the reps as clean as possible. You will see that you will be able to move much more weight with the rolling thunder compared to the wrist range. The reason being, what I already mentioned before, the rolling thunder doesn't put that much pressure on your wrist and fingers. Moving on to the third exercise, where I did some internal rotational work for the shoulders. Shoulder rotators are one of the key factors for a strong side pressure. For this exercise, I set the pulley system lower than the first 2 exercises. At the same time, I try to simulate the best what happens on the table when I want to turn my opponent into my hook and at the same time to my winning side. I don't recommend you to go too heavy on this exercise, especially as a beginner, because the risk of injury is pretty high. Take a weight that challenges you, but don't push your limits every time when you do this exercise. If you don't have this kind of equipment, I also got a video, top 3 side pressure exercises without any special equipment. I'll put it down in the video description below. In that video, I also explain in detail what muscles and tendons you need for a strong side pressure. Fourth exercise is cup with a wrist range. I like to take the setup shown in the video to isolate my wrist as much as possible. This is an exercise I seen the Kazakhstan pullers do a lot, and since I started doing it, my wrist got significantly stronger. What I like about this exercise is that you'll have constant tension on your wrist the whole time. It's also impossible to cheat yourself because your wrist is isolated and there is no way that your body can help you with the movement like in other exercises. You can also progressively overload this exercise over time, which is another huge advantage. I would recommend you to do between 10 and 15 reps per set when you train your wrist, because your forearms will need a lot of volume to get bigger and stronger. This exercise is important for any technique. A strong wrist will be necessary on the arm wrestling table in almost any situation. Last exercise is finger pull with the eccentric handle. Levan Saginashvili, which is currently #1 arm wrestler in the world, used to do this exercise very frequently. This handle is very good from a biomechanic perspective because it simulates the hand of your opponent very well. The setup is exactly the same as the first two exercises. It's very important to start with your wrist straight. Then you'll just pull the weight down. For the first set, where you are still warming up, you can also cup your wrist after you have pulled the weight down. You can also train this exercise in a static manner, meaning you are going to pull the weight down and hold it between 10 and 15 seconds per set. This will help you not only during the arm wrestling match, but also before, as some arm wrestlers like to put a lot of pressure on your fingers before the start. Like the previous exercises, you can do this exercise for any technique training. For example, if you have a super match coming up and you know that your opponent is a top roller, having strong fingers will be extremely important. This was one of the mistakes I did when I started arm wrestling, not training my fingers enough. If you have an opponent who is putting a lot of pressure on your fingers before the start, you will get tired very quickly. Simply stated, train your fingers. These were some exercises to strengthen your cup and side pressure that you can implement in your arm wrestling training. You can either do all these exercises on the same day, or you can split it out, one day for your side pressure exercises, another day for your wrist and fingers exercises. If these videos are helping your arm wrestling game grow, consider supporting the channel. Link is down below. Also, if you have any questions, write it down in the comment section below. I will answer them all, and keep your eyes on this channel. Good stuff is coming.